of the trading, and we help people to understand how the markets work in an institutional manner. In our journey, we found there's two ways of trading. There's an institutional way and there's a retail way. Institutional is what the banks do, and the banks has been in the market since the start, and they've been profitable basically since the start. And then you have retail traders, people like you and I, that has the need to actually also make money off the markets. But majority of the retail traders and retail strategies or retail way of thinking does not work. Why? Because what the banks does is they basically study what the retail traders do and understand how they can grab their money, which is called liquidity grabs and all of that. So without further, I'm going to start. Your trading journey starts with three things that you always need to know. You're going to analyze the markets. That means it's either technical or fundamental. And I'm going to share tonight the two resources that we use in terms of technical analysis and also fundamental analysis. Now, your first starting point in terms of analyzing the markets is just understanding where you want to enter and where you want to exit. That's all it is. With that comes also risk management, how much you're willing to risk for your reward, and so forth and so on. And that's basically the first step, is analyzing. Once you've analyzed the markets and price comes into your region where you're looking for buy or sell, then you're actually taking the trade. Now, therefore, that's a third resource that I'm going to share with you tonight, what to use, what not to use, and how to get started with that. And then obviously with that resource in terms of trading, you also need to have a broker. Which broker is the best broker, how to utilize it, and so forth and so on. I'm going to go into everything as we go along, just going over an overview. Thirdly is a trading journal. I'm going to show you the journal that I have here. This is one that I've ordered from, I think, Takealot. Actually, my wife got it for me. But it's a journal where you go through all of your trading. You want to identify what's the trade you've taken, why you took the trades, what was your risk management, what was the lot you entered, just the technical things. Once you understand where you've taken trades and you go through your journaling, I'll just quickly show you an empty page here. You have a monthly plan, you have a weekly plan, but this is how log basically works. So you have your order, the pay, was a buy or sell, lots, entry price, exit price, closing time, pips, profits, ratio, new balance. And then basically you want to write down what trades you've taken. Why? Because once you start understanding what's the patterns of losses, you can understand what it should do consecutively. And once you understand the patterns of wins, you can identify what you've done consecutively. And that is how trading works, is you analyze, you trade, you journal. And the starting point is analyzing. So I'm basically going to start by sharing the resources on my screen. So the first thing is you want to do analysis. So how do you do analysis? You go into Google, you search Tradingview.com. Tradingview.com is the best software out there that helps you to see the charts across basically every market, Forex, indexes, also like commodities, stocks, and also cryptocurrencies. If you go in on the link, it's going to pop up like, and this is the front page. Normally, you can go search which market you want to trade. You'll always see Bitcoin, the prices and changes, best performing stocks, Tesla and Apple at the moment. And if you scroll down, you're going to have the editors pick what they're looking for, market summary. You can look at indexes, currencies. This is where we're going to actually get started. And if you go across all of these currencies, you can see where and what you want to trade. And you can see what was the major changes up until here. You can see this Euro USD is down by 50% for the year so far. And this is literally just an overview. But what you want to know is how to utilize the TradingView software. So here on the top, you have charts, trades, markets, screens, community, and more. The only one that we mostly use is charts. Now, clicking on it is going to take you to your chart view. And Just wait for it for a second to load. And then you're going to see basically what is the chart, what's it look like. We took trades today, haven't been on a chart this morning for intraday targets. Price didn't reach the highs that we expected, but here you can clearly see your charts work. So here on top, what you have, let me remove this for now. What you have is you have your time frames, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly. If you want to, you can go change it here by the side. And then here in the middle, you have the exact chart that you're looking at. And I'm looking at the pound to US dollar. And you can identify what market you're in just by going to your right side and go searching on the watch on the watch list. And the only things that I'm looking at now is the forex space. And you can see once I click on it, you can see there it's a major pair, and it's also a pair based in Europe. And what is the fee that I'm using? All of this data here is just extra tools that they're providing for people to understand the markets a bit better and understand what to do and what not to do. Here on the left side, you have all of the tools you can use. There's trend lines, different trend lines you can use. You can use painting, text. You can add some text if you want onto your chart. Here's patterns. We don't really use that. Your risk reward ratios and predicament tools that you have. Quickly want to see. I'll get Mauritius just popping a question in the chat. In terms of any questions you have, you can just ask us on the chat or afterwards. But basically, this is the view of the chart. And this is where you do your analysis. If I just use this crosshair here, you can see that this is a major resistance and price has kept below that resistance point for some time. And today we can see we had a rollover, even though we spiked into the upside, grabbed some liquidity, we rolled over. And everything that you need in terms of analysis would be used on this screen. You can go into different pairs. So if I go into Euro USD, you're going to see the same things. And you always just want to identify on the higher time frame, like the daily, the 4 hour, and 1 hour, where trades are possible. So just to quickly show you how you can use some of these tools. So let's say I'm looking for a rectangle or I'm looking for a trend line. I would advise both of them. Yes, they're very useful. Let's see, the market was bullish. So let's just use this trend line and just identify, okay? The market was bullish all the way into the upside. So this is from last week's session. And we can see we were bullish up until this point. And then we broke the last support region. And then if I just highlight this across, I can see this kind of became the resistance point. If I go into the 1 hour, you're going to clearly see whether the market turn around. Let's just remove this one. You can see the support level was broken and became retest. It became the resistance. And then the market just rolled over, and you can see the market started creating new lows and new low highs, low lows, low highs, and then equal lows until it could actually break to the downside today. And how to utilize these tools, you're going to have to play around a bit and familiar with all of the tools. I'm going to remove them and just show you some easy ways to identify certain regions. So let's say the market was bullish and the support level waiting for it to become resistance never became resistance, and then this support level became resistance again. So if I just drag it across, that support region became resistance. There was a trade to the downside. Knowing that the market is going lows, you can short sell this trade and see, okay, the market is going to move into a new region. And with that being said, you can always line up specific trades. So seeing this is the resistance level, it was kept. Market never pushed up above it, and you can go and push in a short position. Say, okay, listen, I'm looking here for 20 pip stop loss, and I'm going for a 100 pip run. So let's say they're about. You can see the market is still pushing into that region, and it's still a very good ratio, 1-to-5 ratio. If I go and edge it off, you're going to see it. If I go for a 1-to-3 ratio, targets has already been met. has been met by its 20 pip stop loss, a 50 pip run. But in the mentorship, we teach you exactly, and in the courses, exactly where to enter, where to exit, and all of that. This is just a tool and software that you can use. Now, after you've done your analysis and you actually want to take the trade, you want to install for yourself MetaTrader 4. You don't want to install anything else. MetaTrader 5, don't go for that. It's not always reliable. MetaTrader 4 is the best between the two, even though MetaTrader 5 sounds like it's the best one and the latest one. We found a lot of problems with it, and they're always trying to update it and improve upon it, and therefore it's not always working and functioning. So if you go onto Google, search MetaTrader 4, don't search MetaTrader 5, MetaTrader 4, you're going to see there's going to be a few ads, and then you're going to see MetaTrader4.com. Click on it, and once you're in it, you can click here on MetaTrader 4, make sure it's highlighted on MetaTrader 4, and then you say download for free. Now, first of all, what's going to pop up is download MetaTrader 5, the new generation of trading platform. We don't want to. We scroll to the downside and we download MetaTrader 4. Only because MetaTrader 5 gives a lot of headaches and a lot of problems. And once it's been installed, you can just click on it. Hopefully the screen does view it. So if it doesn't, then I'm going to just share again the highlighted step of it. So just waiting for it to pop up. So once it pops up, I'm going to show you how to install it. It's very easy. And once it's installed, that's the only place where you're going to take the trade. So as I said, here on TradingView, that's where you do your analysis. And if you want to actually take the trade, you're going to go into MetaTrader 4 and insert your actual trades. Now, as I said, you have two ways of analyzing markets. One is technical. This is your technical chart. And the second one would be fundamental, is your fundamental chart. So if I go and search Forex Factory, this gives me the complete fundamental breakdown of the whole market. You can go to calendar instantly. And once you click calendar, it's going to pop up as it is now. And it's going to give you the breakdown for the whole week. What is happening fundamental wise in the week. So just to give you a clear view, just give it a second. MetaTrader 4. Yes. Okay, so once this pops up, you can look here at the left side what week we're in, and we're on the 16th today, Thursday, and you can go and scroll down to Thursday and see, okay, what news came out. Mine is currently set up on the major news. So here to the top side, you can see this week, September 12th to 18th. Up to the right side, you can see up next what is happening, this next events, if you click it. And you can click this filter button, and this filter button, you can select what event you want, what currencies you want, event types you want, and also the expected impact. So major events are the red and orange. Sometimes the yellow, not so much. It has a low impact, but it still has an impact. And then this gray one normally doesn't have an economical impact, but it's still news that comes out. So if I apply the filter, you're going to see it's going to pop up a lot more events than previous. So Monday is filled with low, I would say low rate news that comes out. And then you can see, yes, the red ones are major ones. This is a speech in terms of the Australian dollar. You can see on Tuesday, there was also USD CPIs and core CPIs. If you don't understand what this is, you just click this follow button, and it's going to give you a complete breakdown. What's the source? What's the measurements? The usual effect. This is normally what you want to look at. If the actual is greater than the forecasted, it's good for the currency. So you can see here that the actual was worse than forecasted and the previous, which gave it a negative impact. And if I go into the charts on Tuesday, let's look at it in GDP. I think this is for USD. Tuesday, which was the, quickly look at it in terms of the calendar. Tuesday was the 14th. So if I look at the 14th, there we go. 14th, dollar lost actually strength. You can see that the euro gained strength based off the fundamental release. So that's how you would interpret on the chart work and all of that. Basically, you want to look at the day that you're in and understand what's happening in the day. Now, this is a lot of news events and also economical events. What you want to do is you want to filter to the most important ones. And that's the best way to be the market, because now I can see today there was news for the New York session, and that was that. That's the only time I was actually looking at the charts and looking for what's happening in terms of the fundamental analysis. So this would be your fundamental tool. And as I said, what's MetaTrader 4 is now at a place where I can install it. Let me quickly say new share. Let's just do screen. Okay, sure. Okay, so if I go onto the what's MetaTrader 4, you're just going to go simply next, and then it's going to start installing it. Once it's done, it's going to give you an account, a demo account that you can go onto, and you can utilize that for yourself to understand how to actually get started into the markets. Once you've traded with a demo account and you're familiar with everything that's happening, you can then go onto a live account. I'm going to show you now how you set up a live account. That would be also linked in the second part, is taking the trade. You are going to have a broker, and your broker is going to link to your MetaTrader 4. Simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. When you sign into your broker, and I'm going to send you a link in terms of the broker that we use is Exness. I'm also going to put it on here so you guys can see. Exness is a local broker in South Africa. They pay out very fast. If you do a withdrawal in the Asian hours, it's normally released at the end of that day or the next day. But if you within the London, New York hours, then it normally takes up to 3 to 5 days to process and withdraw into your account. I've tested it, and it works best to make your withdrawals from the Asian session. Normally, most people are not awake that time. That means 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, making your withdrawals. But for me, it works better that way, because then I get the money that evening or the next day. I haven't had an SMS-based withdrawal that I've done this morning. I've had my withdrawal from yesterday and this morning. So next, I'm just waiting for the MetaTrader to install. So excuse me. Just want to see, it's installing in the background at the moment. Here we go. Let's give it a second. So your Exness is the broker that you're going to use, and you're going to deposit your funds from your bank account, either using your card, internet banking, or you can send it via currencies. I'd advise normally a card, because what you do is you linking it directly to your account, and you can only trade between those two. And so what you have as option is, if you deposit, like let's say $1,000, you are leaving yourself to the point where once everything in profit and you withdraw your profit, you can first refund yourself that $1,000, and then afterwards you can withdraw it into any account that you want to, and you can set it up on internet banking and then withdraw literally within 3 days. So here you can see Exness. What you would do is you would just go into this new account form and fill in your details, and then the rest is normally simple. You just insert funds. I'm not going to go into my account now, otherwise I have to insert my details. Fund your account, and then there's going to be an option where you just link it to your MetaTrader. Just for the sake of this video, I'm going to open up the MetaTrader now and give you a view in terms of how to utilize it. One of these links are actually lagging the connection at the moment. But basically, once this is set, technical part of setting up your MetaTrader and your broker, you don't have to go through it again unless you want to update a new account. And open up a new account. You're going to just do it on Exness, and once that's done, you're just going to link it to your MetaTrader. It's going to give you account number and if need. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna open up. I'm just waiting for this thing to respond. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, here we go. MetaTrader is active. I'm just opening it up. So once this part is done, as I said, entering the trades are very simple. You're going to enter buy or sell. You're going to set your stop loss and you take profits where you want to go. So if I'm looking at the charts in terms of EU, I'll share it now in a second. What you're going to do is just set up. Okay, so if you open up your MetaTrader, it's going to make that sound always. Okay, cool. Let me share the screen again. Share screen. Here we go. Okay. Just let me know if you can't see my screen, but it should be live now. Okay, so once you open up your MetaTrader, it's gonna
incoming mail
look like this. It's very complicated in terms of understanding. You can code things, you can add alerts, articles. It's very complicated, but the only thing that you want to do is open up one screen if you only want to trade one pair, and you can go and fiddle around with all of this a bit and see how it works for you. But once you open it up, you're going to go into the far left side here where it says trade, and you're going to see there's an account balance of $10,000. Now, personally, I would advise to open up a new account and start with like $100 or $1,000. Be realistic. What you're going to deposit, that's what you want to trade. Don't go and trade with a massive amount, because then you can up the lots and you can actually cheat yourself in terms of thinking you're going to trade that account. So be realistic. Unfortunate. Also, make that amount of profits in your demo account. It's possible you can also make it in your real account. The difference is there's a psychological aspect that goes into it. So let's say let's just use the MetaTrader quote software. So you have a demo account. Say next. Okay. The email. And then basically what you're going to do is you're just going to select the amount that you want to trade in. So let's say we trade over $5,000 account, which is also a decent amount. And you want to have your leverage 1 to 100 as always, and then just agree with it. So we're going to ask my details now. Let's say MJ. Okay. Cool. Don't think it's required. Here we go. Then it's going to connect it, and you're going to press finish, and easy as is, the account now should
incoming
be
mail
live. There we go. $5,000 equity, free margin 5,000. If you want, you can change the template and make it different if you want to. Normally, we remove the grid lines and then keep it as it is now. And there's also a very good way. You can also do analysis with this, but it's very difficult. The tools don't always work as well. Like if I use a trend line here, you know, I have to click on it, drag it. It doesn't look as clean and as nice as the TradingView does. TradingView, you can always go and change it. You can click on the left side, and you can always click on the left side, go to settings, and then you can change your charts work. You can change your layout. You can change everything that you like in terms of how you want your chart to look like. You can change the candles. You can change the wicks. You can add a different background and all of that. So going on, the second step is when you want to take a trade here to the top side, you can choose your lots. You can add some lots if you want to. You can reduce it. You can enter sell, enter buy. But the other way is you want to go to view order. Now, this is how you on the computer. You're going to choose instant execution. You can also go for a pending order, but a pending order is different. You're going to choose the volume, that's your lots. So let's say I'm trading on a 1 lot. You want to have your stop loss, where you want to set your stop loss, and as you move it up, you can see it to the left side. It gives you an indication on the screen where it goes. Price is actually exhausted. Let's see, where's the time? You want to take a trade so you guys can actually see. Yeah, we add a buy zone, so not really a buy zone, but it's a possible trade that can actually work out. So let's say new order, and as I said, I want to enter 1 lot, and I want to just enter it. So I'm saying buy. Then, easy as it is, what you can do is you can just pull it to the downside and say, okay, how many pips are you willing to risk in terms of the current trade? So you can see there's 0.5, and now I'm having 10 pips. So I'm just agreeing and saying, okay, that's where I want to set my stop loss. So I can scroll out a bit and see, okay, there's my buy price. Drag it. Let's say I'm using a 10 pip stop loss. Okay, the stop loss is going to be a bit major. So let's say there I'm risking $50, and I'm targeting, let's say, the highs, thereabouts, the resistance level, and I'm willing to risk. Let me just zoom out, see if it actually works. I'm risking, if I just use a stop loss, I'm risking about $50 to gain about $600. So I can reduce it and say $500. You can see the figures they on the left side, and you can see the pip count is 50 pips. And this is how simple it is in terms of taking the trade. If you want to check, you can go click there and set your stop loss, and you take profit. Figures itself, and then do it as it is. This is very easy, very simple to use. Once you understand this is how you take a trade, it's very easy. It just goes about taking the correct trades. So back into TradingView. Yeah,
Michael, can you put in a pending order on this, please? I cannot get that right.
Okay, all good, no problem. So if you want to have a pending order, I can go order, pending order. So I'm going to say buy limit. I would normally advise limit and not stops, limit. So same lot size. So let's say, let's quickly look at the charts. Can't really see what's happening here. Let's just go over to the side. Euro USD. Let's say I want to buy. And I want to buy here about 37, let's say 37,500. Okay. So I want to enter buy at 37,500. So I'm going to go new order, pending order, buy limit, price 37,500, and then stop loss. I'm going to say 400. So it's about a 10 pip stop loss. Let's say 300 just for the sake. And then the targets are going to be, let's say 38,500. So I'm targeting 100 pips. Here we go. Okay. Then you're just going to place the order. So your expiration, if you want to, you can set it. You can specify the date, or you can just leave it at GTC and then place the order. There we go. Now the order is placed. Buy limit at 500. If you want to, you can always move it a bit, however you'd like. But at the moment, if I leave it just there, you're going to see it stays to the exact point. And you're going to see now here, this one is placed, and the price for the stop loss, entry, stop loss, take profit is set. And we just leave it. And you can see this one is opened, and it's in a little bit of a drawdown, $8. But this is how you would place a limit order. Same thing would go for sell. You just go from instant execution to pending order, buy limit to sell limit, and then add it here. It sounds very technical, but once you get yourself familiar with it, it's very easy to take a trade, insert, exit it. But this will conclude in terms of how to get yourself started in terms of trading. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask it. What's merged will answer by the chat, but I'll also answer just via the call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Will you use that there's a buy limit and a stop limit, and when will you use that other one? Let's open that order again.
Okay, so the difference is
Pending order. Okay, there is a buy stop limit and a sell stop limit. When will you use that?
these are in terms of, okay, so if I have to explain it, so limit goes into, let me just show it on the chart here. So a limit would be like, let's say you would have taken a sell limit and you've set it up based off this level here. Price needs to push into it and then roll over. A stop would continue. So if you see price has already rejected this level here and it's moving into the direction, you would add stops. And then as the market progresses, it adds more orders. So the stops literally means it needs to stop and move on, stop and move on. A limit grabs the liquidity and then moves in the opposite direction. So it goes in and moves downwards. Same for buy. If I had to put a buy limit in based off here where the market turn around, same thing here applies. So this was the resistance region becoming support. Price needs to push in as a buy limit and then reject it and move up. A stop means it needs to stop at a certain price and then continue in the direction. So that's the best way to utilize it. I would normally advise a limit order and not a stop, because stops are stacking your position. But let's say, as an example, you've taken a sell here and the market drops and you've added a stop order here and the market is still going in your direction, but the market goes back up. You have to sit with that drawdown and then hope price actually here rolls over. It's better to enter once and then leave the trade to run than trying to add multiple positions, because if the price goes back and tests that resistance level, you're basically looking for trouble, especially like this type of market. It's just moving sideways, just consolidating. But that's the difference between them. What's it, buy stop limit? Buy stop limit and a sell stop limit works as a multiple one. So it either goes in a direction or just turns around. So if you're not sure what the market is going to do, if it's going to reject it or continue in that direction, you use this one.
Hey, thank you.
Good. Is there any other questions, Jav? Okay, all good. Then we are going to. Sorry, yes. So we have one last question. I just want to know if there's a last question. Otherwise, we're going to end off the session. Okay. I'm seeing there's no other questions. I just want to thank you guys for joining in. We highly appreciate it. Thank you for joining the weekly webinar. We're going to have one again next week, but we want your feedback. We want you guys to say what you want to focus on. The first one was just how to get started trading. Next week, we're probably going to focus a little bit more on how to analyze the markets correctly, how to take the correct trades, what to do and what not. Once you are familiar with that, with the markets in terms of just analyzing it and taking a trade, we will be focusing next week on that aspect, how to analyze the markets correctly and actually taking the right trade, where we're going to look at the trade of the day and the trade of the week that has already happened, so you can see how it played out and how you just also put in that order if you would have not been at the screen and you wanted to take part of that trade. If you are at the screen, you can either take it manually, how price reacts to that region, setting up a risk reward ratio and all of that. But thank you very much for joining in. Hope you guys have a good evening, and then we'll see you next week.